This is Scott Beck. I'm a 30-year math teacher here at Newton Conover High School in Newton, North Carolina. I'm here today to prove to you that the Kennedy assassination is impossible as the Warren Commission described it as. It was not done by Lee Harvey Oswald. In fact, I'm going to start this way by giving you my conclusions from the very start. And here's my 5 conclusions. Number 1, the bullet, the magic bullet, went through soft tissue. There's nothing to turn the bullet. The bullet continued in a straight line. Number 2, the size of the bullet, as told by the Warren Commission in their whole volume of books, is that the size of the bullet that hit Connally in the back and the size of the bullet that hit Kennedy in the back of the head were exactly the same. It did not turn in any way until it went through Connally's body. Number 3, the Warren Commission did not even address the horizontal angle, and all the horizontal angle is the movement upon the x-axis of a graph. That's all it is. Number 4, it misses ridiculously. And I'm not going to talk about the number of inches, but it's kind of like an umpire playing baseball. If the ball's 2 baseballs outside or 3 or 4, it's still a ball, and this is a bunch outside. It's maybe 3 baseballs outside, maybe 4. And mainly, there's no way that Oswald could have done this acting alone because of this fact. There were 3 shots, and here's the 3 shots. In green, you had a miss at Zapruder frame 160, and then the 313 Zapruder frame was the headshot. Now, this shot happened somewhere in the middle, and depending on who you listen to, the prevailing thought today is that we have Zapruder frame 223 and 224 is the shot of the magic bullet. And that's where most people believe that it happened at. That particular shot, there's no way that this could have caused all the wounds it did. It caused 7 in total. 2 went through Kennedy, 2 went through Connally. That's their back and their chest. And then additionally, in Connally, front and back of wrist and left thigh. That's 7. The only 3 I want to talk about today is the one that went through Kennedy's back, if you look at the autopsy photo about right here, and came out his neck from the front about right there. And strangely, and this is the strangest part of it, the 3rd one entered Connally's back, almost missed him on the right side. If it would have been over here another couple of inches, it would have probably hit him in the arm. It just about missed. That's highly unusual. So therefore, the reason Oswald could not have done it alone is because this one bullet had to account for those 7 wounds, and there's no way it could have entered from the right at 20 degrees, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And we know that it was going right to left because it hit his throat about 2 inches over, and yet turned and got all the way back to Connally, almost missing him on the right side. Now, let's look at a physical picture of that. Let's have the camera down here, and these 2 things represents the back of Kennedy and the front of Kennedy. Notice that this is the entry spot in his upper back, about 2 inches away from his spine. Then, if you measure the forwardness here, it's about 5.5 inches to there, and then diagonally it's a little bit less than 6, like 5.8 or 5.9. Now, look where this line goes. If it just continues straight, and this is Connally up here, Connally turned at a slight angle, it hits left of his neck here, a few inches. Yet, according to HSCA, the 15-year later after the Warren Commission governing body, it hit 7.7 inches right of the center of his coat. So look at the difference. Here's where it should have hit, and there's where it did hit. Now this brings up another important point, and the important point is some people say, and I'm not a big buyer into this, but we'll give them this because I'm being highly conservative, that Kennedy was sitting 6 inches right of where Connally was. Look at the neck here. Look at the neck here. These necks are about 4.5 to 5 inches around. So notice he's a whole neck length out or width outside of this. This is moved over about 6 inches to show that Connally is sitting 6 inches to the left. I don't really buy that, but maybe in the consideration that if he wasn't, we're talking about more than a foot. We might be talking about 5 baseball lengths outside. But the question is not how many. The question is just the fact there's no way that it could have hit. Now, what's the justifications for my numbers? I just told you that we were talking about 5.5 inches of going straight upward. And here's the way I justify that. JFK's shirt was 15.5 inches. If you use the formula C equals pi d, 15.5 equals 3.14 d divided by 3.14, and you get a diameter of about 4.9, which that's the distance around the collar of his shirt. And you gotta have a little neck room, so you subtract 0.2 off, and now we're down to 4.7. Now, the bullet did not hit the collar. It hit a little bit below the collar here. Collar would be just up here. So I added back about 3/4 of an inch to account for that. And when you get here, you find out that that's about 5.5 inches. Now, let's talk about the 2 inches from the spine over to where the bullet wound was. The autopsy photo shows that. The Humes Warren Commission testimony, Dr. Humes is the head autopsy doctor, said it was 2 inches away. The autopsy diagram shows it being probably 3 inches away, but it's certainly at least 2. The autopsy diagram wording shows it being about 3 inches away. In fact, the autopsy diagram wording says it was directly under this bone right here. Trace that down and over your spine, and I think you'll find 3 inches instead of 2. And James Sobert, an FBI agent standing no more than a yard or 2 away, said that the autopsy diagram was right. So when you look at my triangle here, up 5.5 inches and over 2, there's the confirmation for it right there. All right, and this gets us back to the slope, and this is nothing but 9th grade math, that if you're going left 2 and forward 5.5, if you divide that out, you get 0.36. Also, if you run the tangent of 20 degrees, you also get 26. So what this proves is the angle through Kennedy's body was 20 degrees. Nobody's ever said that, not the Warren Commission, who ignored it, not HSCA. Nobody has said it was a 20-degree angle, but that's what it was. It was a 20-degree angle, it was a horizontal angle, and there's no way that that angle, back on the physical here, there's no way that that can hit this spot. There's nothing to turn the bullet. The bullets are not different size. They're not keyholed like some people say, and it's off by numerous baseballs, and we'll just leave it at that. We're talking about 8, 10, maybe 12 inches. And if Connolly was really lined up in front of Kennedy, it might even be more than that. But it's not close enough. It defeats every purpose of what the Warren Commission said. And when you agree that this bullet could not have done all this damage, you've got to have 4 bullets, and Oswald only shot 3. Thanks for watching. This is absolute proof that Oswald could not have done it alone.